Hello guys and welcome to Sim Racing Vision. Today I want to talk about, is VR really that expensive or as expensive as they say? Initially we have to understand what are your goals. For just VR games, I would say we definitely have some budget options out there already available. As for sim racing, I would still say it's not as expensive as most people imagine that it is. So yeah, first of all, I guess we have to talk about the headset price itself. That's one part of the cost, and the other part will be the hardware. Let's talk about the headsets. If you're just looking for VR gaming, then your range will probably be for the used devices from around $200 for probably a used Oculus Quest. And yeah, if you're looking for a new one, you can get a Quest 2 for around $400. And basically your journey is over. You don't need a PC for it. You can get a PC later if you want, but you don't need anything and you can start enjoying VR games with it. Now, if we're talking about sim racing, you will need additional hardware like a PC or a PlayStation 4 in order to run it. We'll talk about that later, but the headset prices, I guess, yeah, if you're looking for a used device, you can probably get like an old Oculus Rift for around $200 as well. Oculus Quest might be an option as well. If you're, however, looking for a new device, I guess the prices start also around $400 for a Quest 2. But then if you want for sim racing, I guess the better options would be something like an HP Reverb G2. But probably the best headset overall would be the Valve Index. I can still, from my own experience, tell that it's probably still the best headset around there. Overall, because you have so many factors for a headset. It's not just the spec sheet. The lens quality, the clarity, and all those factors, comfort and things like that. So if you count everything in, Valve Index is the best option overall. The HP Reverb G2 costs around $600 to $700 approximately, and the Valve Index goes, yeah, if you want 2 base stations and if you want with the controllers, I guess you will be paying over $1,000 for it. If you don't need the controllers and you could probably do it for sim racing like that, then you could, yeah, probably get it around $800 if I'm not mistaken. But I guess if you're getting a Valve Index, you will probably want the controllers as well because you will want to try regular VR experiences as well. Okay, now let's talk about hardware. So yeah, a lot, I guess, believe that, yeah, the hardware requirements for VR is the biggest blocker. Now, I would say it really depends. Like currently, I use the RTX 3080 myself for VR, but I can say that before I was using a GTX 1080, so the non-TI version, the regular GTX 1080, and it was pretty much enough for most of my experiences. So I can confirm it's actually a good enough card. So if we were talking about the minimum needed for VR to enjoy it all, it would probably be the 1060. Now, if you don't have anything equivalent to the GTX 1060, I would then probably say that the better option would be to save up some money for now and get a better card later and upgrade later. Now, there are some things to be aware of. So if you're getting like the headset with the highest resolution, you will have higher hardware requirements as well. But if you're just using an old Oculus Rift and that's enough for you, then you don't need that powerful hardware at all. So yeah, you really have to watch out what hardware you are planning to use VR with and what you want. But basically, I can say, unlike with the monitors or flat screens, with VR, you can basically utilize as much GPU processing power as you get. If you had anything better than 3080 or 3090, you could definitely use it. There is no limit, I guess, for how much you want because you can always make it look better. So that's kind of different from what we are used to have with the monitors. but the experience is way different, so I wouldn't compare now VR to non-VR. I can also mention that the trick with VR is that you have technologies like the synchronous reprojection, which makes your PC render everything, for example, at 45 frames and you get 90 instead. There are tricks with VR which kind of make the hardware requirements lower nowadays, so it's not as extreme as it used to be in the very beginning when VR first appeared, because software has improved so much since then. I won't really be going into the details about CPUs, so just pick anything that pretty much matches your GPU. So now you might be asking, okay, if you go with a really weak hardware, will it look bad? Well, not necessarily. I would say VR still looks impressive. Perhaps with old hardware, you can use like an older headset or a lower resolution headset. I guess you won't have the pretty graphics like you have on the monitor, but the experience on VR is not comparable, I would say. Now, the ridiculous thing I often see, I see people, building sometimes like really good rigs, and then I see them putting a monitor, that they have like at least a 2080 Ti, and they still put a widescreen monitor instead of using VR. I don't know. I have the feeling that sometimes people just don't realize that VR is out there and that it's the superior option, especially nowadays as there has been some development for VR. And the last thing I guess that I would be mentioning is that once you're using VR, you can kind of omit other costs, like all these hardware gimmicks and things like dashboards and etc. that you don't really see in VR anymore. You don't really need that anymore. So yeah, if you just like it looking pretty, you can get that, but you don't really see it, and what you really see is whatever the car looks like, the interior, and how it's supposed to look. And additionally, I guess you can configure some dashboards inside your vision in the VR. And this is, I think, one of the hardest parts for some people, because they are like so attached to their old dashboards and whatever they have on their rig, what they like to see and they love to see, that they have a hard time separating from, It's like some people just like their old 20-year-old car and really don't want to get separated from it unless it's really undrivable, and repairing it is way too much. So that's what basically happens with a lot of people. I see that constantly. Some people just have a hard time moving to the more modern technology. Hey, but what about button boxes? You will probably be asking yourself right now. Well, that's actually pretty straightforward. As long as you can feel and touch them, you should be fine. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you really liked this video. If you did, I would be really happy if you hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos, please feel free to subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and goodbye.